Talking of Thursday,
yes,
2 days to go till voters head to the polls for local elections in parts of England. And here on Breakfast, we're speaking to all the main political parties this week ahead of polling day.
we're joined now by Nigel Farage, who is leader of Reform UK, who is in Wiltshire this morning. Morning to you. Why should voters cast their vote for you this week?
Because local government needs a big shake-up. You know, we always talk about what's going on in national government. These local authorities, county councils, unitaries, with budgets of billions, I think are giving very bad value for money. People's council tax goes up 5% every year. And what we've uncovered through 3,000 FOI requests are the vast sums of money being spent on consultants, on agency workers, on climate change initiatives, on diversity, equity and inclusion drives. And frankly, that's not what the councils are there to do. So we will go in, and if we win some of these councils, send in the auditors and get taxpayers better value for money.
So you would send in auditors to look at the work that the consultants had been doing, and you would then scrap any conservation projects and diversity projects?
Well, there are no conservation projects that I've seen, but all sorts of money being spent on so-called climate change initiatives. That is not for county councils to do. And we'd send in the auditors to find out why. I mean, you know, in some cases, local councils spending £10 million a year on consultants. So I believe that local government is broken and that it needs to be fixed.
So what would a win look like for you this week?
Well, we've got a parliamentary by-election, of course, taking place in Runcorn, which is Labour's 16th safest seat in the country, but we are certainly running close. We've got 6 mayoral contests, a couple of which I think we are going to win. And then, of course, we've got 1,641 council seats up. I know that Reform are going to get a big share of the vote. How that translates into seats, I simply don't know. But what I see is we're doing well against the Conservatives in the south and well against Labour in the north. So it could be a big evening.
So are you seeing then that people perhaps aren't saying they're going to vote for Reform, but they are people who are disillusioned with the Tory party? So you're getting what Labour have been pushing as your line of candidates being failed Tories?
Well, what a load of rubbish. I mean, I think what the Labour Party found was about 2.5% of our candidates had formerly been Conservative councillors. We also got former Lib Dem councillors and former Labour councillors too. No, we are not left, we are not right, we are common sense, we're standing up for British values. We feel that, well, both local government and national government is broken in Britain and people want a fresh, new voice. And I've never seen a government like this Labour government lose popularity so quickly.
You have been courting the unions in the run-up to this local election, but the TUC General Secretary said this of you. He said you are a political fraud and hypocrite who is cosplaying as a working-class champion in order to win votes. Just wonder what you make of those words.
Well, I think he's very scared because, I mean, don't forget, it is the trade unions that fund the Labour Party. Unite and GMB, between them, have put nearly £50 million into Labour since 2020. But many union members are going to go and vote Reform on Thursday, and Paul Nowak doesn't seem to like that. Look, we are on the side of working people. You know, I was in Scunthorpe the other week. I made the call with my colleague Richard Tice for action to happen, and the government did something. So I would just say to Paul Nowak, you know, don't turn your back on people that actually could be good friends to you.
We've heard Robert Jenrick and other senior Conservatives saying, well, Robert Jenrick said he wants to send you back to retirement, and you said that your voters would be in revolt over any potential deal in the future with the Conservatives. But if Reform UK could hold real, genuine power, I'm going to ask the question that you have been asked many times. Would you do a deal?
I don't want to do a deal with the Conservatives. I only do deals in life with people that I trust. And frankly, after their big majority in 2019, they let the country down. Millions and millions of new immigrants coming into Britain, a population explosion affecting everyone's quality of life. I don't trust the Conservatives. Reform are going to replace the Conservative Party as the main opposition to Labour. And I think you'll see the evidence of that beginning this Thursday.
I don't know if you've seen this morning, we're reporting on a story about the sugar tax, the new sugar tax that's going to be brought in by the government. It's going to be applied now to packaged milkshakes and those very sweet packaged coffees that you get, you buy pre-packaged. What are your initial thoughts on that?
I'm just sick to death of a government telling us how we should live, what we should do, and taxing us more and more and more on any simple pleasures that we enjoy. You know, people make their own minds up whether they want to drink, whether they want to consume too much sugar. We can educate people, but frankly, this sort of nanny state Labour government, and the Tories were no better, I'm pretty sick of it, and I think many people are too.
It is at this point a consultation, but it is also designed to improve people's health, and improving their long-term health, reduce rates of obesity, therefore save the NHS money.
Government doesn't improve people's health. Just look at the proliferation of Class A drugs in this country, available on virtually every single street. People's health improves because they make their own decisions. And so education, I accept, is very, very important. We've got an obesity crisis, despite years and years of being told what we should and should not do. No, people make up their own minds. Government shouldn't meddle too much.
And is your experience that drugs are being sold on virtually every street?
Yeah, absolutely. Drugs are so available, it's not true. In fact, even in this campaign, going around, you can smell drugs being smoked everywhere, openly, Class A, easily available. And, you know, for decades we've heard we're going to smash the drug gangs, just like we're going to smash the gangs crossing the channel. And government just isn't working.
How are you going to stop that if you're in power?
Well, when it comes to the English Channel, and by the way, 10,000 young men have crossed this year already.
I meant the Class A drugs, Mr Farage. I meant your statement that there's drugs being sold on every street. How would you stop that?
Yeah, frankly, what is happening with drug sales, what is happening with shoplifting, is crime is out of control at what's called a minor level, but it's not so minor to those that it affects. And we've got to build more prisons, and we've got to get a lot tougher.
Nigel Farage, thank you.